Welcome to Rethinking Death.life, the podcast where we flip the script on the spoiler alert. Everyone dies.
Hosted by the witty widowed death doula duo,
Kathy Dempsey
and Kim Harms.
We know our way around both life and afterlife prep. We tackle the big questions with humor and heart and a healthy dose of reality talk.
Whether you're planning your epic exit, pondering what's next, or just want to know if death really has a sense of humor, we've got you covered. Because rethinking death might just be the secret to truly living.
Welcome to Rethinking Death.life, the podcast where we explore life's most profound questions with honesty, grace, and a little touch of humor. I'm your host, Kathy Dempsey, and today we're diving into a topic that's close to both of our hearts: living life with your legacy in mind and building emotional wealth for your family. Joining me today is fellow death doula, best-selling author, and my cherished co-host, Kim Harms.
Thanks,
Welcome,
Kathy.
Kim.
Thanks, Kathy. It's always a pleasure to be here and to share these important conversations with you.
Kim, we often talk about preparing for death. But today, we're going to flip the script and focus on how to live and how to live well with our legacy in mind. Why is that idea so vital?
Well, Kathy, it's essential because our legacy isn't just what we leave behind when we're gone. It's the impact we're creating right now by living intentionally and nurturing meaningful relationships. We build emotional wealth, those deep connections and shared memories that are far more valuable than material possessions. It's about giving our loved ones a foundation of love, trust, and resilience that they can carry forward.
That's so beautifully put. When you say emotional wealth, what exactly do you mean by that, Kim?
Well, we all, when we think of legacy, many times we're thinking about what financial wealth can I leave my family, right? What can I leave my family financial wealth? Well, even if you build a great financial wealth and you don't manage it well before you die, that financial wealth can tear your family apart. And we all know of families who
Yeah.
broken apart after the death of someone because they didn't plan well. They didn't plan well for the financial aspect, but they also didn't plan well for the emotional aspect. Emotional wealth refers to the intangible but incredibly powerful assets we create through our relationships and our actions. Things like fostering open communication, showing unconditional love, and creating shared experiences that strengthen family bonds. These are the things that truly sustain people in tough times and keep your memory alive in their hearts.
Yeah. I love that concept, Kim, but in a world that's so focused on financial success and material gain, how can we shift their mindset to prioritize emotional wealth?
Well, it starts with awareness. We need to reflect on what really matters to you and what you want to be remembered for. Then take intentional steps to align your daily life with those values. This could mean spending more quality time with loved ones. I'm now in the process of moving half of my time down in Kansas City, where I have three
Right.
grandchildren, half of my time here because I want to spend quality time with both sets of grandchildren. And unless I'm kind of living in the area, it's hard to do that. Otherwise, I just show up on holidays. So I'm focusing the rest of my life on spending that quality time with them while I still can, while they're still young enough to need me and appreciate it. It can also mean expressing gratitude or mending broken relationships with people. Legacy building is also about getting your financial affairs in order and properly preparing for a time when you are no longer here. And that will prevent that conflict and confusion that can arise when you don't prepare properly and your family suffers from the grief and then has to manage a lot of difficult uh, things. They have to manage where does the property go? How do you divide it up? Where is it located? You need to have all that stuff together and in one place where everything is prepared. And it's also one of the best acts of love you can give to your family. The
Yes.
important thing is to make choices that reflect your priorities and being present in the moments that matter.
Yeah. Kim, that is so powerful. Can you share a story about someone who embodied the idea of living their living legacy?
I have a dear friend, Carolyn, who I was writing a book, Are You Ready? How to Build a Legacy to Die For? And I was looking for examples of people that had actually done that and had done it well. And my dear friend, Carolyn, told me the story about her amazing father, who instead of focusing on his declining health, because, you get involved in that and start
Mhm.
focusing on that, he focused on creating a joyful, meaningful moments with his family. He wrote letters to each of his children, sharing his wisdom and love. And then Carolyn's dad showed his family what it means to live fully, even in the face of death. Taking vacations is another thing you can do during this time. Go out and enjoy some experiences. His legacy wasn't just about his accomplishments, but about the love and joy he poured into his relationships and the fact that he realized the pain his family was going to suffer after he died and did
Right.
everything in his power to make that journey a little bit easier.
Mm, mm. That is so inspiring. It's a reminder that our actions today ripple through our lives for those we care about. Kim, let's talk about practical ways to build emotional wealth. Can you give us some?
Oh, absolutely. One simple but powerful practice is to express your love and appreciation openly. Tell your family you love them. Tell them today. Don't wait. Another is to prioritize those shared experiences over material gifts. I'm doing that for my holidays. I'm trying to do more experiences with my children and my grandchildren. Go on a hike, cook a meal. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, or simply sit down and have a heartfelt conversation. Teaching them how to cook or is one of the wonderful things you can do. Just walking with them, talking to them. It's just, those things are just so important and so amazing. And what I've done also is I send them Valentine. The Saint Valentine, for the first Valentine was written by Saint Valentine to be
Right.
delivered after his death. So what kind of an impact did that have? So
Wow.
I've written letters to each of my children that are in my legacy binder with all my other stuff. And then I also write little Valentines, especially sometimes I can't sleep when you get a little older, you can't sleep at night. I get up and I'll sit down and I'll write Valentines to every one of them. I'm trying to spread it out so they all have an equal amount. You got to work little Valentines. I just bought a whole bunch of little Valentines. I keep them in a drawer and I write them to my children and grandchildren about things like I had such a good time watching you at your little basketball game today, and my best favorite part was when you were giving hugs to your teammates. I mean, those types of things. That's one of the Valentines I just wrote. So those kind of things will be very, very helpful when you're gone to remind your family how much they meant to you and how they enhanced your life. And that's can be some powerful stuff. And don't underestimate the power of storytelling. Share your life, your
Right.
experiences,
Right.
your values, and lessons with your loved ones. These stories can become part of your family's emotional inheritance. I have a book that for my husband. My husband just dictated the story of his life and some of the things he wanted to share to my daughter. And after he passed away, she made a wonderful book with pictures all through it. And it's a
Mm,
treasure. It's a treasure for
wow.
my family. So I'm going to try to make my own book. We'll see how that goes. We have one for Eric as well. So we have just a little book for each one of us that passes away, and we can look back and remember whenever we, feel inclined.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic advice. And what about people, though, Kim, who might feel like they've made a mistake or they missed opportunities to build that emotional wealth? Maybe they have regrets in their lives. Is it ever too late?
As long as you're alive, it's not too late. And remember, you talked about in a previous episode, someone at their living funeral who expressed regret and
Right.
apology to their families for not spending enough time with them and reconciled with them. We had my husband reconcile with his brother the last day before he passed away. So I would recommend not waiting until you pass away. Do it right now. You don't know. Death is unexpected. It can happen tomorrow. So healing and connection are always possible as long as you're alive. But you need to start by acknowledging the past and taking responsibility for any
Sure.
harm that's caused. And when you're looking at an issue or problem, well, one of the best things, I was a conflict manager, is to take the person out of some of these issues and just focus on the problem itself.
Mm,
Focus on what happened. Take that person out and realize, you may have done the same thing that that person did, and just try to focus on the issue and then apologize for your part in it, reconcile, take as many steps as you can to build those positive relationships. And also show through your actions that you're committed to building stronger, healthier relationships. Reach out to them to invite them to things. Even small steps like sending a kind note or making a phone call. We can still make phone calls. Texts work as well, but phone calls can
right.
really
Right. Right.
it's still available. It's still available, and they can rebuild it, trust and connection.
Mm, mm. Well, Kim, that is so helpful and hopeful. And, you often talk about living with your legacy in mind. So, how can people identify what kind of legacy that they want to create?
Well, a great starting point is to ask yourself three questions. Number one, what do I want to be remembered for? Number two, what do I want to pass on? And number three, how do I want my loved ones to feel about me when I'm gone? And once
Mm.
you've answered those questions, think about actions and steps and habits that you can take that align with those goals. It's about being intentional and constant in how you show up for the people in your lives.
Kim, those are just profound questions. Before we wrap up, though, what's one piece of advice that you'd give our listeners about living with their legacy in mind?
I'd say this, your legacy isn't just a future concept. It's something you're building every single day. Make choices that reflect your values and invest in people you love. Tell them you love them and tell them now and individualize it by sharing something you appreciate about them. At the end of the day, it's the love we give and the connections we nurture that truly define our legacy.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well said, Kim. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom and your heart with us today. And thank you all to all our listeners for tuning in to Rethinking Death.life. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review or share it with a friend. Remember, living your legacy starts today. Until next time, I'm Kathy Dempsey, encouraging you to rethink death and live fully.